Alright guys, so today we are doing something a little bit different. Warframe video, yes, but we have finally hit that milestone of crossing 100 hours of gameplay. So yes, on my channel, I have been playing this game for months now, and I think at the time this video drops, I will have somewhere between 50 and 60 videos released. So, and most of my videos are pretty long. If you do the math, that means that pretty much my entire journey from, minute zero to current time has been chronicled on this channel. Obviously, there have been a few cuts, just extraneous gameplay and long gameplay sessions, but by and large, every single thing I have done, I have in video format on my channel here. So, the question is, 100 hours in, finally, of gameplay in Warframe, what do I think, and is it worth it? My answer is a resounding yes. It's 100% worth it, and I was hooked long before I hit the 100-hour mark. So kind of what I want to do today is just give a brief overview. Obviously, a lot of the guys, watching Warframe content on my channel, you're already Warframe players, so you already know this. So, I'll just give my thoughts on it, which maybe you'll find entertaining, maybe you won't. But I also kind of wanted to target, at the offset when I started this journey, to just see what Warframe was about. It was kind of to try to answer the question, should you play Warframe, as a Destiny player? So my history, how I discovered Warframe, it was a game I had never heard of. I played Destiny from day one of the original Destiny release. Day two got it, day one release, and I've been playing it, hard for years. So it's also about 10 years, I think, since Destiny dropped, give or take, somewhere around there. It's close enough. But, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. And, I love Destiny. I still think it's a great game, but after playing it that hard for that long, I just needed a little bit of a break from it. Just something to kind of turn the page, give a little fresh take. And so I had just popped into Google, games like Destiny, top 10 games, for Destiny players. And this one consistently popped up from myriad sources in the top 3. It was number 1 on a lot of them. So I said, you know what? Let's look on Xbox and see if they have it. So I did and saw that it was also free to play. So that was kind of a win-win. So that's how I got into Warframe in the first place. I had never heard of it. I just happened to search, and I was looking for an alternative to Destiny, just something to take a little break. And that's how I got into Warframe. So my perspective on this, my entire time in the saddle, has been viewed through the lens of a multi-thousand-hour Destiny player, a Destiny vet. That I still love the game. And kind of once I jumped into this, I started seeing definitely why people would make that suggestion. Is it an identical game? No, but it has a ton of similar things to offer for people that, maybe came from Destiny or play Destiny or games like it. And I definitely think that this is one to give a strong look at, in my opinion. And yes, I see that on my neck. I will get rid of that. But nonetheless, so I kind of want to start from that angle. So pretend you, as I, have never heard of Warframe, or maybe you have, but you've never tried it. What is Warframe all about? How does it compare to something like Destiny? Well, the first thing that I wanted to just kind of mention here, you'll see this, my character model, that suit I'm wearing, that is my Warframe, and there is a boatload of them. So if I come over here, just to give you an idea of the depth of this game, this is one of many, many, many different frames that are able to be used in this game. This is a list that gives you pretty much the rundown of all of them. These right here that have that little blue kind of wing in the corner, those are just the ones that I personally have to date that I've worked up, to the mastery level, I believe. I think that's what that insignia means. All the rest of these I'm chasing. Now, I do have 3 of these specific ones I don't have yet crafting right now, which will be done very soon. But the point being here is there is a ton of frames. So if you're comparing it to something like Destiny, you have your class, Titan, Warlock, Hunter, and then your subclasses, Arc, Solar, Void, Strand, and then I believe there's a new one out already, but I haven't played Destiny in a few months, so I haven't even touched that yet. But this kind of functions in a similar manner. All of these frames are unique. They feel different to use, and they all have different abilities, as it were, and kind of move sets. So they're all bringing something completely different to the table. So you could kind of make that parallel between like the Destiny subclass types. But I would argue that it's a lot deeper because there's way more completely unique moves and abilities in this game than there are in something like Destiny. Not that I'm trying to make a direct comparison between Destiny and Warframe. It's just that's my background. That's how I came to discover Warframe in the first place. So that's kind of my yardstick. And then if we just move away from just the Warframes themselves alone, the suits with the abilities tied, we come into the weapons. You will see here that there is another very, very exhaustive list of weapons. So I don't know how many that is. That's clearly well in excess of 100, 2, maybe 3. I don't know. I don't know how many weapons there are per row and how many rows there are, but it's a lot. Sure, a game like Destiny literally has thousands of weapons, but then if you really sit back and think about it, so many of them are just garbage nobody would be using anyway, and then a ton of them are just duplicates basically of the exact same thing. This game, at least what I've experienced and discovered, yeah, there's a lot of weapons, maybe not as exhaustive as some games, but they're all distinctly different, and they all feel different to use, and they all have kind of a different purpose. So depending on your play style or the task at hand, there is a time and a place, at least what I've discovered, for everything. Everything is viable. You can be successful with everything in this game, but just like any other game, bring the right tool for the job. And you can see I still have just a massive, massive collection of these to acquire. I have barely even scratched the surface on this game, and that's a tick over 100 hours in finally. And that's just a couple areas that I wanted to show you. And of course, there's all tons of other stuff in this game. There's a massive mod system, and this screen, you can kind of look. It shows you kind of a lot of information. So just aside from the main direct comparison between abilities and character type and weapons, that gives you a sense if we're making the direct comparison to Destiny. Now, the other thing I want to point out, and this is one thing, I'm a Warlock main in Destiny, and, say what you want, but Warlock mains tend to be the people that know every bit of lore in Destiny. I'm one of those. I love the story in games, and this game absolutely does not disappoint on that front either. So over here in the quest line, all of these are kind of the main storyline, the main kind of lore story development in this game. I played quite a few at the bottom, but I think I've only done about 30-ish%, give or take. I still have a ton to go. Every time I play one, it is just, I absolutely love it, and I just want to keep playing them. I don't want to burn through them, so I'm just trying to hop around, and when, I just need a bit more story, I'll pop in and I'll play one before I go back to grinding and trying to get more parts for stuff to craft. But the storytelling in this game is superb. These are so fun. I cannot... it's just, you almost have to experience it. I could tell you, but I would just say, if you haven't played the game yet, play the game. Just play the game. It is an absolute blast. So we've got storytelling, we've got abilities and movesets, we've got tons of crazy weaponry. There's a crafting system over here. This is kind of your main ship where you travel around. There's so much more to go into here. There are mods over there. So that's kind of the next main point I wanted to show. I'm sure while I'm recording this audio and kind of talking over my thoughts of my 100-hour review, as it were, that I will probably also splice in just some gameplay footage that I've got, just to give people that have never played or seen Warframe an idea of what it looks like and some of the stuff I'm talking about. But this game is so deep and it's just bonkers. I have thousands of hours to go under my belt. This is one that, I jumped in just to give it a whirl, see what I think, and I was hooked almost from the instant I started to play it. And just to give you an idea of the depth of this game, it's not dissimilar to, say, you play Destiny and you pick Warlock and you take your first feeble steps and realize how weird their jump is compared to everybody else's and how long it takes to even get kind of sort of mastered. I have about 105, 106 hours in this game now, give or take, and only within the last 40-ish, maybe 30 to 40 hours of playtime do I feel like I've finally gotten a really good handle on the movement system in this game. I wouldn't even say that I've mastered it yet, but I feel like, okay, I can hold my own now. But there's still much more to tweak and to fine-tune. It is that level of depth. So yeah, there's just so much this game has to offer. I could almost talk for hours endlessly on this, but let's jump to one of the next key things I wanted to point out. So I told you this kind of visual you see, that is my frame. If I pop over here, I could swap over into these other ones that I own. So this was the starting frame that I picked. Completely different move set. You can see as you're looking over in your arsenal is what they call it, and it tells you all about what they are, what they do, and then you can also select your weapon loadouts. But again, drawing back this Destiny parallel, just like Destiny, there's a massive mod system. This game has it as well. So you can mod your suit and you can mod your armaments. So I'll just open one up. And depending on the weapon type and what you have collected, there's tons of different mods here, and they all do something different. So if you really like build crafting, which is the thing that I love the most to do in Destiny, this game has got you covered. I mean, just endless variety. Things you can boost up, make them even stronger. It's actually kind of an involved system that takes a while to learn. One thing this game that I personally appreciate does, or rather doesn't do, is they'll tell you stuff, but there's not a ton of hand holding. It's a lot more just time in the saddle, trial by fire, trial and error. However, caveat, if you actually like looking stuff up, this game's community is just massive, and there is information on everything you could possibly need or want to know or be able to look up in this game. So it is free for all. Just pop on. I think it's what is the name of it? It's a wiki page for Warframe, and it's just exhaustive. So, hey, how do I do that? How do I get this? What's the best setup for doing this? It's there. Now, I have actively not looked up anything in this game. Pretty much everything that I know in this game to date, I either learned by myself, trial by fire, or the kind community of players in my channel comment section have given me tips and pointers. Albeit they have been very, very kind to not throw spoilers in my direction, for which I am eternally grateful. But yeah, if you want to figure it out on your own, there's a ton to figure out. If you just want to look stuff up to hit the ground running, or hey, I just want that, that's going to be awesome, you can look it up freely on the community. And that does bring me back to another major positive, and I have to take this as part of the review of the game, is the community around this game. I've been gaming a long time, and I have been a diehard player of many games over the years, but I have never run into a community of gamers that is as genuinely nice and helpful and friendly as the Warframe player community. Just second to none, in my humble opinion. And I'm only 100 hours in, but I've been playing the game for a few months now, off and on, when I have time, crazy day job and all that. But yeah, just the nicest people in the world, just kind of salt of the earth, would give you the shirt off their back kind of territory we're talking here. Happy to explain anything. Doesn't matter what you're about, what your play style is, what it is you're looking to accomplish. If you're brand new, if you're great at games, if you're horrible at them, just a wonderful community of helpful people that do genuinely seem to love sharing their passion surrounding this game. And I totally get it. It's an absolute blast. This is one that I'm going to be playing for the long haul for sure. And the community is one big part about that. Just the nicest people ever. So doesn't really matter what your preference is. If you want to figure it out on your own, go for it. There's a lot to discover. If you want to have assistance from people, look stuff up. It is readily available. Either way, you can play your way. And that is just another big perk. The game is huge. It's just huge. So I think that I should at least show visually. Obviously, Warframe players, you already know this, but anybody catching this video, just for my thoughts on it coming from other games, this is, aside from kind of the story missions I already showed you earlier, this is kind of the main world map, and all of these little dots along all of these areas are different missions, and yeah, I mean, it's just huge. And I still, 100 hours in, have not made it all the way around. It's a very big game. There's events that pop on all the time. And, there's just a ton to keep you busy, a ton to do, a ton to collect. Fellow Destiny players, you will appreciate this. This game has a pretty robust, aside from mods to collect, it's got a pretty robust, call it a currency system if you want. But let me just jump over here into my inventory. You'll notice that there's this big miscellaneous section. There's things called relics, amps, necromechs, various different types of weapons and setups, parts, resources. So if you're coming from Destiny, you're going to be used to this. It's just as exhaustive. So there's a lot to learn in this game, and yeah, it's plenty to keep you coming back for more, and plenty to keep you busy. So trying to just kind of bring this all together, bring this all back to where we started. My path, how I discovered it in the first place, where I am today in my journey, where I see it going in future, and what my thoughts are. In general, we'll start with the easy one. My thoughts on the game are this. I absolutely loved it. I loved it almost from the second that I jumped into it. And yes, when you first start playing, they will drop you in and kind of guide you through, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, just the very basics of the movement, how you cycle through weapons and stuff. But there's not really a lot of in-depth hand-holding. You kind of have to just figure it out on your own. And I still have people preaching this to me all the time to this day, even 100 hours in. Read. Anything that pops up with text in the menu, whatever you're looking at, just read it. At least half of the time, the answer to your question is going to be in that text if you read it. Now, some of it is a little more obvious than others. Some of it's a little more vague than others. But yeah, it does a lot of explanation through text. So that's one thing that you should know. So yeah, don't be afraid to read, backtrack, go back and reread it again. You will eventually figure it out. But that's kind of my answer to the question. Yes, it's a great game. I love it. Would I recommend it? 10 out of 10, I would recommend it. I don't care if you, as I, came from Destiny or any other game kind of similar and like it. This is one that I would recommend all day long. So yeah, and that's my takeaway. And obviously, I know it's just mere words, but the best suggestion I could make is, A, the game is free. If you, like me, are playing on Xbox, just give it a shake. I'm telling you it's good, and there's a big community of people that have been playing the game for the better part of 10 years that also would tell you the same, but everybody has their own opinion. My answer to the question, is it worth it? Would I recommend it? Yes, and yes. That is kind of the big main key. Now, if I wanted to get into even more detail, if we want to go nitty gritty, not just making direct comparisons to other games, but aside from just the base level fundamentals, the game has a little bit of everything. It's got a lot of different types of missions, mission types where you're doing completely different things, which is always fun to switch it up. So it doesn't just constantly feel like, I'm coming in, there's an enemy, I take out the enemy, and then once they're all, eliminated, mission complete. I mean, yes, there is an element of that, but there's spy missions, they call them, where, you can kind of employ a stealth approach to the game, which is completely different than anything else. There's kind of defend the position, defend the point. I mean, that is completely different than anything else. I mean, it's just got a ton of stuff that makes it feel fresh and lets you do something different than what you were just doing before. And that is another aspect that I just absolutely love about it. So, the depth that this game has is pretty huge. And really good boss fight encounters. There's at least one boss in so far as I discovered on all of those individual planets that I showed you on the map earlier. I'm pretty sure I opened up the planetary map just in case I'm losing my mind. This is the main world map here, and all of these with their individual, little nodes over here are different missions, and all of those have a different boss fight. And that is something fun to do. They're all a little bit different, a little more different approach, different challenge for you, but also, great places that you can farm the fights for different things that you're going for in the game, i.e., the pieces to make these different frames, like the one that I'm wearing currently, or pick up different weapons. So there's just a ton to chase in this game. It's filled with loot. It's filled with story. It's filled with endlessly variable gameplay. I mean, it's just kind of got everything going for it. And, to loop back for the final time, coming as a Destiny player to this game, I absolutely see why this is recommended for people that like Destiny. There are a lot of parallels, but yes, it is distinctly its own thing. But I think that if you came from Destiny or a lot of other games and gave this game a shake, that you would probably have a very, very good time. That is my big takeaway. So, at the 100-hour mark, I'm having a blast with it still. I have barely scratched the surface of the game. There are elements that I feel like I finally started wrapping my head around. And then there's stuff that even, it took over 100 hours in, I still, am just kind of starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So yeah, it is a big game with a lot of depth. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to retain, and there is a lot to master. So this is a game that is big, that just has a ton offer, no matter what your preference is, how you like to approach games. My takeaway is it's got something for everybody, and I would highly, highly recommend it. So my review is yes, give it a go. If you're already a Warframe player, then you probably already know, because I've basically alluded to this in every video that I've dropped. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just want more, and I play this every opportunity I get. So guys, hopefully that wasn't too boring of a video. I will try to splice in just some actual footage in lieu of me just walking around in the ship interior. So I'll splice it up a little bit and get the audio overlay just so you can look at some different stuff, show you some of the other things in the game that I have discovered and that I've done, but I still have a ton to go. So 100 hours, that's not even getting close to finishing the game. Indeed, I just did turn the corner of what the devs and all the community says. It's basically getting through the tutorial. Hey, congratulations, you made it that far. You're now done with the tutorial. Now go learn how to actually play the game. Yeah, it's not a joke, and in the best way possible. So yeah, I love it. That's my takeaway, guys. Hopefully you took something away from this video. All the Warframe players, yeah, I love it, guys. I'm glad to be a part of the community. Thanks for all the support as I've been taking my first steps as a Tenno. And anybody else that's never played Warframe that came across this video, I hope that my words and what I showed you can kind of give you just a small snippet of what this game is about. 10 out of 10, I would recommend it. Do yourself the favor. Just download it, Give it a whirl. Give it time. You won't regret it. Very deep game. Great story. Tons to do. Doesn't matter how you like to approach games or what your play style. This game has something in it for everybody. So guys, that's my review. That's going to do it. In the next one, we are going to pick back up on our continued path and making our way through the solar system. So, as always, guys, thanks so much for checking in, and we will catch you on the next one.